Next up, I'll go to Representative Carter, who represents a beautiful coastal district in Georgia. Rep. Carter, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank both of you for being here. As Chairperson Castro just mentioned, I have the honor and privilege of representing the entire coast of Georgia, over 100 miles of pristine coastline. I'm very proud of it. And I want to thank you. I want to thank NOAA, because you have done some great work in providing data about our coast, and that's extremely important. You know, I've always said in order to deal with climate change, we've got to do three things. We have adaptation, mitigation, and innovation, and they are very important. Particularly on the coast, adaptation and mitigation are extremely important. Since 1980, the United States has spent $1.75 trillion in recovery from $258 billion events that we've experienced. From 2014 to 2018, the United States saw an average of $13 billion disasters every year. Those are staggering numbers. And, you know, there are a number, as I mentioned, a number of programs that NOAA's been involved with, that including the Integrated Ocean Observing System, the Digital Coast Sea Level Rise Viewer, and reports from Coastal Resilience grant programs that allow communities to recover and repair from storms. And this has allowed Georgia to recover, and it's truly allowed us to adapt to the climate. Adaptation, one of the things that we need to do. According to FEMA, no other coastal state besides Georgia has completed disaster recovery and redevelopment plans for every coastal county as we have. So I'd like to ask you, Mr. Spinrad, I'd like to ask you this. As you can see, these have been truly beneficial programs and these efforts. How is NOAA ensuring that local communities, especially smaller ones, get this information, and what does NOAA do to help them act on this valuable information?
Thank you, Congressman. I truly appreciate your recognition of the hard work that NOAA and our partners have undertaken, especially in the state that's home to one of our sanctuaries as well, and our attention to the issue of coastal resilience. So your question really gets down to, no matter how good you do in terms of developing products and services, how are they being implemented? How are they getting out to the communities? We have recognized that that service delivery piece, if you will, of our responsibility is one of the most important aspects. So we have boots on the ground capabilities like Sea Grant. We also are going to make extensive use of our service delivery mechanisms like the weather forecast offices more than we have in the past.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your fine work. Now, I want to get serious. How many hours in 2 days? You know the answer.
2 days, 48 hours.
48 hours. You know how many days of fishing for red snapper we get on the Atlantic coast?
Yeah.
How many?
Less than that, yeah.
2 days. We're going to get 2 days this year of fishing for red snapper. Now, on the Gulf, I was just told that they went from Memorial Day to Labor Day last year, and then they reopened the season because they still had plenty of red snapper. We get 2 days. Let me ask you, do you know who holds the club record at the Savannah Yacht Club for the biggest red snapper caught?
I do not, sir.
Do you know that I've got plans for these 2 days elsewhere? Now, I'm not going to be able to defend my record. 2 days. How can you justify 2 days for recreational fishing for red snapper? Right now, the most recent South Atlantic red snapper stock assessment indicated that the stock has shown progress toward rebuilding. There's an independent 30-month study that will help better understand the true stock of red snapper in the South Atlantic. This one is inspired by the Gulf of Mexico, as I just mentioned, by their great red snapper count, which discovered that there are 3 times as many red snappers previously estimated in the Gulf. What I want to ask you is, can you commit to NOAA using the results of this independent study to possibly inform management of the South Atlantic red snapper fishery?
So, thank you, sir. And I can commit to using all of the best scientific data that we've got, including the results of that assessment, the red snapper count, as we look to ensure the highest quality of the assessment of what the stocks are of red snapper.
How did you come up with 2 days? I mean, if the wind's blowing, if it's raining, then we don't get anything. And you tell us the 2 days that we're going to get to fish. 2 days, 48 hours. I hope that we can use this study. I hope that we can make an accurate assessment of what exists out there. I went fishing in the Gulf of Mexico, And it happened, this was off of New Orleans, at Port Fourchon, a couple of years ago. I had to throw back 44 red snapper. Now, granted, I'm a pretty good fisherman, but at the same time, I had to throw back 44 red snapper. I don't know what y'all are doing and where you're coming up with this, but I hope that you will consider the recreational fishermen. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you, sir.